But I do think it's a dying world. I got a kid, and you know, I don't know if he wants to do this or not, but it's going to be even tougher for him if he wants to get into this whole world of recording because it's hard, man. It's hard.
Well, why is it harder than being a musician?
No, nothing's harder than being a musician. No, nothing's hard because in the recording world, you got, you know, you could do commercials, you can do books, you can do, you know, you got 1,000 genres you can record. But the hardest thing in the world is either being a death metal, black metal musician, or like a jazz musician. And that's it. That you're probably never going to make a living doing that unless you're, you know, Cannibal Corpse, and even those guys, you know, I used to know like Alex Webster and all those guys pretty well, and even back in the heyday of death metal, they were delivering pizzas when they weren't on tour. And they're the biggest band in the world. So unless you're Danny Filth and you got a marketing company where you market your own T-shirts and you put naked vampire women on them, it's tough, man. Being a musician's tough, you know. I mean, you can be Arch Enemy and throw a girl up front and try to take that route, but in general, man, people are just not making that money. You know, it's hard being a musician.
Well, I think that's kind of an interesting conversation in and of itself. Is, you know, especially as a guy that's done a lot of, you know, I've done a lot of music over the years. It's always just been local, so I've never really gotten anywhere with it. But I've also never had any delusion that it was going to become a full-time job for me. But I still run into a lot of people who seem to be laboring under the impression that, you know, playing death metal is going to pay the bills. And I think that a lot of people, you know, it's a little bit different for me because, you know, I live down here in Tampa, which has this huge legacy of death metal, including guys that were able to make it their jobs. But do you think that the genre itself of like death or black metal, or maybe just music as a whole, it's just not a viable route anymore? I mean, I think for death or black metal, it's almost certainly not. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the point of, you know, 1994, a few guys paying their mortgages with it.
Yeah, it's not a viable way to make a true income. And like you said, those guys, they're paying their mortgages, but are they living a lifestyle? You know, some people are comfortable with a certain lifestyle, and that's all they need is to pay their mortgage. Some people are not comfortable with that lifestyle, but you're never going to have that super comfortable lifestyle playing death or black metal. And it's funny, my new bass player, he's a younger guy, and it's funny when he came into the fold. I think he might have been under the impression that, yeah, this is what it is, and we can make this work, and we can make a living, and we can do this. And I'm not saying you can't. You can scrape by and you can get it done. But I think he found out pretty fast, like, no, this is not really going to pay your bills, man. This is something you do for the pure love of it, and you know, we could all just sell out tomorrow and go play rock and roll, or we can go play pop, or we could do whatever we want, but we play it for the love of it, man, and that's what you got to do when you're playing this genre. You better just be into it, because if you're not, if you know, you might as well go play a different form of music.